Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Well, hello, my unicorns. How are you? Ooh, are you ready to talk about stepping out of the matrix today? I love the timing of this because the new Matrix movie is coming out in just a few weeks on December 22nd. So get excited! Stepping out of the matrix. This is a concept that I really wish somebody had warned me about when I was going on this journey. So here I am warning you about it. And encouraging you also to not let it be an obstacle or not to be something that'll stop you, but rather something that's going to be just like a heads up. And I'm going to give you everything you need today in order to face it and know that it's coming and handle it well. So what the heck are we talking about here? Well, when you go on your own journey of self-development, your own journey to confidence, heads up, my friend, you will be stepping out of the matrix. For those of you that are not familiar with the concept of the matrix, basically, everyone is living in a world that is artificially controlled, and in that world, you can take a pill and come out of the matrix. Therefore, you now are in the real world, seeing what really is going on, while everyone else is still kind of stuck in the program. It's a really simple way of kind of describing it. I'm sure everyone that loves the movie is like, oh my God, you didn't do that justice. Probably not. There's a lot more detail to it. But for the sake of our conversation today, that's what you need to know. That everyone by default is in the matrix, and you have the option to get out of the matrix, but you will then be kind of isolated from those people that are still in it. So how does this then apply to real life and not just the movie? Well, society and societal beliefs, which is also interesting because they vary across cultures, right? So the way that you step out of the matrix in the United States might vary from how you step out of the matrix in Saudi Arabia, or how you step out of the matrix in Mexico, or how you step out of the matrix in Ireland. And even within the US, there are different ways that you're going to be stepping out of the matrix based on your experience with your family, based on the area you live in, etc. The matrix represents the societal beliefs, basically the things that we have decided to operate on as a group of humans, and that kind of keep everyone part of a system, versus stepping out of that and seeing all of those things for what they really are, not factual, but rather optional. And we, as the queer community, you as a queer person, I want you to know that you are better set up for this than any other human on the planet. Your queerness is actually your strength here. It is your superpower here. What does queerness really represent? Well, it really represents not living by the outside standards, but rather really being who you are on the inside, stepping into who you truly are. And that goes beyond your body, your orientation, your skin color, your family, right? Queerness is Here I am. Here I am being me. Everyone else around you, my friend, is still walking around believing that the world happens in a certain way. They are still believing that the way it works is things happen to them, and then they feel good or feel awful depending on what happens. And then they basically just have to kind of hold on for dear life. They've got very limited choices about where they can go, who they can be, what they can do. And then one day they'll die. You, as a confident queer, know that the truth is every human can create their own experience. Can you determine all of the circumstances that happen to you? No, of course not. That would be ridiculous. Lots of things happen that are outside of your control, and that's not a problem if you are the master of your experience. Everyone around you is still plugged into the matrix. They see the world a certain way. They think it operates a certain way. And mostly they feel sort of victimized. They have very few choices, very few opportunities. They are kind of left in just living one day to the next. You, however, know that you get to plan ahead. You get to create on purpose this experiences that you want. You can make certain things happen in your life that you want to happen through the choices that you make and who you decide to be. And this can get really uncomfortable to be living in a world surrounded by people still in the matrix while you are not. Because they will feel very victim to certain things, and you will see, oh my God, how do they not see it? They are literally choosing to stay in it every day. I'll give you an example. One of the things that drives me fucking crazy is when people complain about their job. Because I don't understand why they still work in a job that they hate so much. Right? If it's optional, if they truly can leave, then leave. Or make yourself a little less miserable by deciding that it might suck. The job itself might suck and be totally out of alignment with who you want to be and the life that you want to have, but it's serving a purpose right now and you like the purpose that it's serving. So you are deciding to stay there for the purpose that it serves you right now until the next chapter, until you build your own business, your own brand, or until you get hired for that dream career that you really want to have. And then that way, the job that you're in, you're like, oh, hell yeah, I want to do this. Why? Not because I like any of the things I do, but because it provides me with the finances to do what I really want to do. And it provides me with an income and some community and some sort of purpose, something to get out of bed for every day, and a distraction for my brain so that I can flip back and forth, focusing on working on my passion and also just sort of having a break where I do something that I really don't give a shit about. Do you see how you get to decide how you get to react to everything? And it becomes very discouraging and a bit isolating from other people when they are still in it. And I really wanted to bring this topic up right now as we enter the holiday season, and you may be around more people that you don't necessarily jive with all the way, right? These might be family or chosen family or friends that are a little more like acquaintances than like the deep friend that really is on the same page as you. And so to help you navigate this, I want you to just start to notice that when it is going to be frustrating for you, when they are complaining about things that you're like, what? I don't get it. Why are they complaining about that? Because you don't see the world the way that they still see the world. You did at one time. You were in the matrix with them at one time. Remember when you had most of your conversations revolving around complaining about work, complaining about money, complaining about relationships, and complaining about health? I don't have the abs I want to have, right? That's what most humans are walking around doing. They're feeling very victimized by the world. Most people are not in your shoes now. They don't see how empowered they really are. And that can be okay, though, for them. It's going to be very frustrating for you at first. So I want to warn you that that is one of the side effects of stepping out of the matrix. That is one of the side effects of stepping into empowerment. That is one of the side effects of becoming confident. The community that you have had will no longer fit and serve you the way it once did. You will start to feel like a stranger in what used to feel like home. And that can be really, really unsettling. It can be scary. It will be very uncomfortable. So what do you want to do about it? What do you want to do about it when you visit with your parents and you realize that they're living their life and complaining about all this stuff and living in a way that you're like, oh my God, I wish I could step in and rescue you. I wish you just knew what I knew. I wish you knew this Coach Alex Ray. I wish you knew that you could be that person that you really want to be. And sometimes you may be presented with an opportunity where they are all ears and ready to hear and ready to talk with you about it. But most of the time, they're not ready. They're not willing, and they're not able to hear. And instead of just sitting in discouragement here, decide that it's okay for them. What do I know to be true about you? It's that you have found your confidence. You have found this journey in your perfect time. This time was your perfect time. What if you also trusted that those you care about who are still very stuck in this old way, that you wish you could rescue them? What if you decided that they would find it and realize it in their perfect time? It doesn't feel good because you love them and you want them to experience the joy and the freedom and the confidence that you have. But it's not for them yet. And there's no way that you can actually rip another human out of the matrix. They will fight you. They are very attached to the way that they currently see the world and themselves. Think about it. The way you used to see the world and yourself served you really well at one time. It allowed you to make sense of everything in your life. You got by. You survived. I love to tell you all that, like, constantly, okay, well, when you realize that something's not working for you, okay, well, it worked at one point, didn't it? Instead of having shame around the beliefs that you're carrying with you that are hindering you, you are starting to look at them now as like, oh wait, they worked for me at one point. That's why I developed them in the first place. The same thing is true of your acquaintances, your friends, your family. The people that you know at work, the same thing is true. The way that they see the world right now is working for them. And until it is no longer working for them, they will go on looking at it that way. Until they become so fed up and so uncomfortable that they seek a different way, they will go on looking at it that way. So save your energy. It's not your job to convince them. It's not even possible. They will only dig their heels in harder. And let's ask yourself here, how can you have compassion for them instead of pity? How can you have compassion for where they're at, where you used to be yourself, instead of looking at them like pathetic, unempowered humans? It's not very helpful. It's not very kind. And if you really want to help them become more empowered like you, well then, what better way to do that than seeing them already as they can be in the future? Let me say that clearer. Seeing them, acting around them, setting an example in your interactions with them, and treating them as who you know they are capable of being, not who they're acting like right now. Remember, they don't even realize it's an option to see the world in a different way. Of course, they would choose it if they knew about it, but they won't know about it until they are desperate for it. You found it in your perfect time. They can too. And so, oftentimes my thoughts with other people when I'm hearing this, I'm like, I remember when I was there too. And sometimes it helps to just be curious with them, to just ask open questions with them. Like, tell me more about that. I'm genuinely curious. What do you think would maybe turn that into the best opportunity that you could possibly be having? It's an opportunity for you to ask questions and be interested and be curious with them, and to just discover it with them, to let down your own assumptions too, that you know it, know everything and see it differently. You do get to see it differently, but they need someone who's not telling them they have to be different. It's what they already get, and that's what they're telling themselves in their head. They need from you curiosity, because if they can be safe being curious and exploring their narrative with you, they can also be safe to do that with themselves. Being out of the matrix is so fun, isn't it? Isn't it so neat when you realize that you can actually develop the experiences in the life that you want simply by aligning with who the person is that can accomplish that thing, or be that person, or have that thing that you want, and that you can have a journey that is empowering to you, even if other people look at it like, what the fuck is going on? Isn't it neat that you can plan ahead that you want a partner or a friend or whoever that is like XYZ, a job that is like XYZ, a living scenario that is like XYZ, and then you can set out to become the person who attracts that? It's pretty damn neat. And you just being a living, breathing example of that around others is what is super empowering to them. You pitying them and trying to over explain to them how you got where you are, or apologizing, right? Some of y'all do that. I've done that. Where I apologize for my accomplishments or try to shrink them. No, that's not helpful. That's not setting an example. That's not calling everyone around you to something bigger and greater. No, go be all of you. And then simply by you living in the fullest, most empowered expression of yourself, you will be an opportunity for those who are ready to also step out of the matrix to be so curious, how do they do it? That they will then want to ask you, how do you do it? And that's when you can share with them the journey that you're on and what it's really like. Now, dealing with the new evolution of relationships, as you start to notice that people are drifting away, that you feel a little more isolated, I want you to remember this truth, that all relationships end. Every single relationship ends. They end because your paths drift apart, or they end in death, you or the other person. Every relationship comes to an end. And every relationship is there for a reason. So everyone that you've known in your past has been helpful for you in some way or another. And it is okay if they are no longer helpful, if they are no longer that person that is really supportive in this journey. I look at my life and the lives of every human on this planet like a bunch of paths, kind of like the New York subway. It looks like some spaghetti thrown at the fucking wall. Sometimes those paths are parallel. Sometimes they travel between stations together. Sometimes they are very aligned and going the same places, and other times they're going other places. Every single human you interact with, you're then at that point when you're interacting, it's like your tracks are aligning. They're there for the same they're there for a purpose, not necessarily the same purpose, right? The way that you are there for them in their life might be different than the purpose that they have for you in your life. But your tracks align during that time. It doesn't mean that you're meant to start and end at the same destination. No, you were just meant to meet somewhere along the journey. And eventually that meeting spot will come to a close. You will no longer be on that same path together. Sometimes you may meet up again later at another station. And sometimes you may never meet up again. All of these are okay. I want to encourage you that it's okay to go be with your people. It's not more honorable to stay with those that you have known. It's not more honorable to stay with the people in your past than it is to create a new network of support. Both are fine, both are useful, both are helpful. Stay in a relationship as long as it serves you. Most of the time you want to ask, oh, but maybe I'm serving the other person. Okay, well, what's at the base of that assumption? That they're not going to find their way if you're not there for them? Okay, savior complex, right? Hello. Also, how do I know this so well? Because this is me, right? This is also my brain. I'm with you. I'm still human. Hello. That's how I know this shit so well. I'm a living example of it. I'm constantly learning these things and then teaching them. No, you can never assume that you are actually even serving that other person. You don't know that. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but it's not for you to decide that. It's for them to decide whether this relationship is serving or not. You focus on whether it's serving you or not and be okay with stepping away. I almost said unafraid, but I don't think that's even realistic for you. It's going to be scary. That's the truth. It's going to be scary, but be okay with it being scary. Be okay with it being uncomfortable and move on from the relationship when it no longer serves you. If it's meant to be, it will be, and you may intersect at a later time. Isn't it interesting how sometimes there are friends that you had a long time ago and then drifted apart, and now you're back together, and those people were someone that you really looked up to at the time, and maybe the relationship was no longer serving them anymore. You drifted apart, and now you're back together. Now that you are both in a space of more self-empowerment, of more confidence, it was really in your best interest that you and that person were not staying together because you were using them as your rock when you really needed to see that you were your own rock. So you staying around for other people, seeing yourself as the only person who could possibly help them and empower them and get them to where they're supposed to be, you're creating a relationship of codependence, which is based on seeing the other person as incapable versus seeing them as capable, honoring them as a completely amazing, capable human, and stepping away when it no longer serves you, and trusting that they are a divine being who will find their way. And you no longer staying there and being their support is okay, because it will give them an opportunity to struggle more and to see that they can be their own support. Recently, I had a friend who just has changed quite a bit over the last year of me knowing them. And we used to have lots of conversations that were very empowering for both of us, where it felt like every time we got together, it was like magical growth was happening and we were really building each other up in our lives. And recently, this person has kind of gone down another path and does not see life in that way anymore, and often is just dragging themselves and others around them down with them. And they really do not see themselves as empowered. And the relationship that we were having was becoming one of codependence, right? Where it was so much more about, hey, can you rescue me from this thing, versus, hey, I want to bounce this idea off of you. Let's grow together. And we had to have a conversation in which I said, you aren't the person that I really remember as my really good friend. And I don't want to hang out anymore until that person is back. So let me know when that is. When you're ready to be there, I'm ready to be with you still. And I would love to hang out at that point. The thing is, by default, most humans are worried about hurting feelings, right? And I was worried about hurting their feelings. But for me to constantly just be that resource that's like, okay, sure, just come complain to me again, I would be enabling. And I would be agreeing with that person that they are not capable and that they can't get through things. By me putting up a boundary and by me saying, hey, look, here's who I want to hang out with. I want to hang out with that version, that empowered, amazing, awesome version of you. And this has been a pattern for several months and you're not wanting to be out of it. And here's who I like to surround myself with. So if you want to be like that, I would love to invite you into my life again. If not, then, see ya. That is actually the most loving thing to do. Because it's not saying, hey, you have to be different, something's wrong with you. It's saying, here's who I am and who I want to be around. And you are allowed to be whoever you want to be. I'm not going to decide that you need to change and try to fix you and to try to change you. I'm going to decide that you are capable and that you can also feel like an adult. Like you can feel your feelings like an adult. You can process them. Instead of me looking out for like trying to dance around you like a fragile baby, let me treat you like the adult I really know you are and tell you the truth, even though it feels uncomfortable to say and it sounds scary. I want you to know that I don't see you as a fragile, delicate person. I see you as empowered. I see you as powerful. I see you as capable. And this is the life that I want to have. This is where my train track is heading. If you want to come back over here to this track and keep going this way together, awesome. I'm all for it. But I'm not going to derail just to get back to you. Because I don't like the direction that you're going. I've been there and I don't want to stay there. And you're choosing to keep that path. You're choosing to keep going that direction. Nothing's wrong with you, my friend. But if you want to be in community together, if you want to be friends again, this is where we're headed. This is where I'm headed, right? And it's up to you if you'd like to go that way still. Do you see how you allowing other people to make their own choices is the thing that will empower them the most? Not you trying to fix them or make them see things your way. Now I understand the real side of this is that feeling of isolation. And that's a very real and scary thing that you will have to go through. Empowerment can be isolating. Is that a reason to stop becoming more empowered, my friend? I think not. This is why I created the Iconic Queer Mastermind. Because I have not found a community anywhere else of queer people coming together, wanting to thrive, build their confidence, and see the world in this way. So I created it. And I invited you to come to the fucking party. This is why this program is a group program. Because I know the very real fact is that you are going to have the fear stepping out of the matrix. You're going to have the discomfort of going out there and losing a lot of the community that you have had. So this is your invitation to choose a community where you are going to be on the same page as others and be building together. That is what will support you in continuing to pursue the next level of being who you want to be. When you start to choose on purpose, what are the communities that you surround yourself with versus trying to stay around a community that no longer is serving you and you are no longer really serving them. When your tracks diverge, it does not serve anyone to try to force or pretend that they're back together. So I invite you, if you're ready, to have a supportive queer community of other entrepreneurs going on this journey together. This is your space. This is the group. And this is the time. You've got 1 week left to make the decision to join. I will see you there, you iconic queer motherfucker. Love you. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to CoachAlexRay.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.